What is going on, everybody? Welcome into TTP Sports. And on this Tuesday night, where really nothing is happening in the sports world, Philadelphia wise, that is, I think we're gonna, gauge off of a different topic today and get into some baseball and get into the Philadelphia Phillies because I feel like there's still some interesting things to talk about with this team as we progress through the offseason, as the winter meetings get closer and closer and possibly there could be moves made during that point. There could be moves made before that point. There's always a bunch of rumors going around, and especially circling around the Phillies, because obviously they're going to try to be making moves this offseason. So, definitely would like to discuss a lot of that. But before we get into all of this, just want to point out I appreciate everybody once again for helping get over the 1,000 subscriber threshold. I love every single one of you. I appreciate every single one of you. And as we continue on through this journey, I would love if you hit the subscribe button if you are a new viewer to the channel or a reoccurring viewer and then just, happen to not be subscribed, I definitely recommend you hitting that button. Hit the notification bell as well. Does me a great deal of service with the YouTube algorithm. You can also drop a like. You can also leave a comment. Continue growing this channel and helping me, go through this journey. I'd appreciate you for it. And just continue having a good time talking Philly sports. And as we move along today with this topic of the Philadelphia Phillies, like I said, many many interesting things to go around here. And one topic that I really want to, in particular, get today, we're going to bring up a bunch of them, but the one that I think right now that is probably the one that I would think that most likely happens, or something around that case. And it really involves Garrett Crochet of the Chicago White Sox. And I think we all know at this point that going back to this past trade deadline during the summer, during the MLB season, that the Phillies were definitely heavy suitors for Garrett Crochet, but, nothing really happened there. But, the talks were still ongoing, and the Phillies still remain to be a heavy suitor for Garrett Crochet to this date in the offseason, and they're definitely one of the favored teams that could possibly land him, and there's still ongoing talks as we speak between Dave Dombrowski and the Chicago White Sox. And I really want to get a gauge from the Phillies fan base on how they view what could possibly happen if the Phillies do acquire a Garrett Crochet. What could a trade package possibly look like? Now, am I going to put together a trade package here? Probably not, because I'm not sure what the Chicago White Sox would want. I think the last thing that I saw in terms of what they would possibly want in a return for Garrett Crochet is more of fielding help, more of lineup help, not in terms of starting pitching or anything like that. But I would assume if you're trading for a starting pitcher, you're taking a starting pitcher away from a franchise. And granted, yes, the Chicago White Sox are an absolute dumpster fire. Let's not forget that. But wouldn't you have to trade a pitcher in return? And that's where I'm really getting, into the thought process and really just trying to think back on what a trade package can look like for Garrett Crochet. And does Garrett Crochet make sense for the Philadelphia Phillies? And to answer that question, I think 100% yes. Garrett Crochet would make sense for this Phillies team because it would only strengthen the rotation even further. And yeah, there's definitely, I would say the only downside to trading for Garrett Crochet is he wants the contract extension guaranteed to whoever he is getting traded to. And it kind of sounds like, even though it's probably not going to be exactly what happened here, but it basically is he probably wants his arbitration years bought out. He probably wants to go down the Christopher Sanchez path where you buy out all the arbitration years, you get that long-term extension out of the way, and you know where you're going to be for the next couple of years without having to worry about going through arbitration, without have to worry about the back and forth between player, agent, and front office of the organization. It's definitely understandable why you would want to get a guaranteed contract from a different team so you could be in a spot that, you're going to be with for a little bit without any of the extra added stress. It definitely makes sense from that standpoint. But I'm sure there's definitely some Phillies fans that are probably more straight away from Garrett Crochet just for that particular reason. I would say the other reasons probably people would stray away from Garrett Crochet is that last season was his only season, like his first full season as a full-fledged starting pitcher. He came up a few years before that, was mainly a bullpen guy, and then a couple of years after, I believe he got Tommy John surgery or some type of surgery that ended his season. And then after that, that's when he became the full-fledged starter. And definitely people would be a little bit cautious of giving a guy a guaranteed extension directly after his first full season of pitching in Major League Baseball, which is also definitely a willing concern. But I think there is a risk to take. It's a worthy risk because of how good he was last year. Now, yes, the first half numbers definitely dipped into the second half numbers, and they skyrocketed a little bit into a little bit of a concerning place. But like I said, it's also a guy that's making his first full season as a starting pitcher. There's going to be ups and downs, but there were a lot of good underlying stats for Garrett Crochet, and he is only so young. I believe he's like 24, 25 years old. So basically, you'll be giving a guy an extension based off of potential, based off of how you think he's going to progress, more than so of him being what he is, and you're paying the guy for what he actually is. With a young guy, you're paying for potential. 24, 25, you're paying off potential. You're paying, for him to based off growth. And definitely people are expecting him to improve. And I would think in a better atmosphere, in a better franchise, in a better run organization, that Garrett Crochet 100% would improve, under a better coaching staff, under just better everything, because anything, anywhere would be better than being in the Chicago White Sox franchise. And still, he put up some really good numbers last season, despite of playing for that pitiful franchise, that dumpster fire of an organization. I feel bad for White Sox fans at that point. But I think it would be worth the risk. I think if you slot in Garrett Crochet into a rotation with Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Christopher Sanchez, and then maybe Andrew Painter, who possibly could fight for a rotation spot this year. Yes, there's still going to be the questions about Ranger Suarez. I believe Ranger Suarez has one more year left in his contract. He's going into a free agent season after this. So there's definitely going to be some question marks there. Are the Phillies going to be willing to offer an extension to Ranger Suarez? Because, they paid Christopher Sanchez before they paid Ranger Suarez. That tells me a little bit something there that, they're a little bit cautious of giving Ranger an extension. So is it to Ranger Suarez's case that he hasn't been able to pitch a full season in Major League Baseball basically his entire career? There's always been some type of setback, either where he gets hurt during spring training, he can't start the season on time, he doesn't get the spring training on time, or there's just some type of setback, or there's an injury during the season, and it just completely halts everything that happens. That's basically been what Ranger Suarez's career, besides from him being a very good pitcher in this league, there's always some type of setback. There's always something holding him back from pitching a full season. And are the Phillies just really concerned that at this point, Ranger Suarez, I believe, is 29, 30 years old? Or are they just concerned that this is what Ranger is? He can't pitch deep in the seasons. You can't rely on him to give you 150 plus innings without something, going wrong during that process. And is that holding them back from giving him a contract extension? And maybe that's why they would pivot more to trading for a Garrett Crochet, because he's younger, because he's 24, 25 years old, because he has a lot of upside. There's definitely a lot of question towards there, and maybe you can find some logic in that. But what would happen if the Phillies were to acquire a Garrett Crochet? And what would happen with Ranger Suarez? Would Ranger Suarez still be in the Phillies organization if Garrett Crochet is here? A lot of questions to go around, and maybe, Ranger Suarez would be a part of a Garrett Crochet trade. This is where you're really going off at the rails and trying to think of what goes on here. But like I said, would Ranger be here? I have no idea. I have no idea. Would I be more concerned? Am I concerned about Ranger's ability to pitch a full season? Yes. Would I be concerned about getting rid of him just due to how solid he can be, and especially because of his postseason numbers? Yeah, his postseason numbers over the past few years have been very, 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 very good. He is a guy that steps up in the postseason, even though where it was clearly evident that he's pitching injured throughout the second half of last season, and he was dealing with a lot of arm fatigue. There was just, Ranger Suarez was gassed, but he still managed to fight through 5 innings against the New York Mets in the NLDS and not allow a run. So there's still something to him finding ways to fight and battle and step up when his number is called. But like I said, it just goes back to the longevity, the ability for him to stay upright, the ability for him to stay healthy. Is that something the Phillies are concerned about, and why they would deviate to a different path? Possibly could be that case. And I can 100% see them going after some guys like a Garrett Crochet. Now, there's all a bunch of rumors about, Alec Bohm being circled around a Garrett Crochet talk, and that goes along with a bunch of the rumors here. I think I saw the tweet right here. This is from Phillies Bell on Twitter. The Phillies, per Bob Nightingale, have been shopping Nick Castellanos for nearly 2 years. That's not surprising. So that's something, that they've been doing for the past couple of years. Have made Alec Bohm available, which is very obvious. Have spoken about Bohm and Justin Crawford in extensive trade talks with White Sox for Garrett Crochet. And if they trade Bohm, and if they trade Bohm, they will go after Alex Bregman or Willy Adames. So that's a whole other stuff that I want to get to in this video as well. But it does sound like if they do go after Garrett Crochet, which they 100% are, Alec Bohm 100% is going to be circling around those talks. And I would expect, Alec Bohm would have been a guy, because I did expect him to be traded just because of the way everything last season happened, with the way it ended, with, him getting benched in the playoffs. Rob Thompson seeming to get tired of his attitude, and it does seem like the Phillies organization is just tired of his tantrums. That's really what it feels like, and I'm 100% expecting Alec Bohm to be traded, and that's what a lot of people around baseball are talking about, that Alec Bohm most likely will be on the trade block. He is on the trade block, and he most likely will be traded, just all according to what the package is going to be in return for the Phillies and what they're looking for in an Alec Bohm trade. So could Alec Bohm be one of those pieces that helps you acquire a Garrett Crochet? Because it does sound like the White Sox are more interested in infield help and lineup help and everything like that besides pitchers. So I'm sure Alec Bohm can help you in that case. He's definitely not going to be the main piece in a trade that would get you Garrett Crochet. He would be one of the additions. He would be one of the extras added onto that package. I would assume the White Sox are more interested in prospects in the system and everything like that, like a Justin Crawford, so there's definitely like an Aiden Miller or anything like that. So there's a lot of things to go at, like a Starling Kappa. So I'm not sure how the Phillies would get it done, but I'm sure if you're going after Garrett Crochet, it's going to involve Alec Bohm to a certain extent, or unless they use Alec Bohm to go out and get bullpen help. Maybe that could be the case. So there's definitely a lot of ways that you can go around trading Alec Bohm. And if we just look at Garrett Crochet's numbers here, to really get off the Garrett Crochet topic, because, like I said, I do expect the Phillies to go hard after Garrett Crochet, and I do expect Garrett Crochet to be a Philly at some point this offseason, whether it's going to be at the upcoming winter meetings, because a lot of moves do go down during the winter meetings, or it'll be some point before spring training. So, because there's just been so much talking, so much connection with the Phillies and the White Sox regarding Garrett Crochet. They were heavily going after him during the trade deadline. Nothing happened there, and now there's a lot of talk about them heavily going after him during the offseason. You're trying to connect 2 and 2 together. So it sounds like it's going to be inevitable at this point. So if we look at Garrett Crochet's numbers last season for the Chicago White Sox, he was 6-12. He started in 32 games. He pitched 146 innings, which, yeah, does come to, Ranger didn't pitch 150 innings. Why would you trust Garrett Crochet to give you all that length? He had a 12.88 strikeouts per 9, 2.03 walks per 9, and barely allowed home runs. His ground ball percentage was very good. His ERA was at a 3.58. His expected ERA was at a 2.83, and his FIP was at a 2.69, and his expected FIP was at a 2.38, and his WAR on Fangraphs, which is more accurate than baseball reference WAR, it was at a 4.7. So very good underlying numbers for Garrett Crochet. 3.5 ERA, 5.8 ERA, Very solid ERA at this, stage in baseball, but the expected numbers are very good, and that really reflects on the team that he played for. He played for the White Sox. No wonder why his ERA maybe stats were inflated a little bit because of how bad the team was around him. And he was very good for a very long stretch of time during the 2024 season. So there's a lot to it, and there's a lot to be excited about with Garrett Crochet. So lefty, very funky delivery, can throw heat, can really confuse you in the batter's box. So there's a lot there. And like I said, there's a lot of potential. He's only 25 years old. He's going to be turning 26 next season. And what Fangraphs projects him to be next season? They project him to start 31 games, pitch 170 innings, to be 11-10. So this is not guaranteeing what team he's going to be on, but they're just projecting what his season could be. So projecting 170 innings, they project him to have around an 11-plus strikeouts per 9 percentage. Very few home runs allowed. They expect his ERA to be around a 2.93. They project his his FIP to be around a 2.92, and they expect his WAR to go up by 2 ticks at a 4.9. So Fangraphs very reliable when it comes to the underlying stuff. So there's definitely some intriguing things here about Garrett Crochet. I would definitely be very excited that the Phillies can find a way to get him. 100%. 100%. So, will it happen? And like I said, there's been so many other rumors and revolving around Garrett Crochet. And there was also someone posted from the Boston Sports Gordo. And they said and this is more revolving around the Red Sox. But the Red Sox have been quiet as of late as it pertains to Garrett Crochet talks. Per Sean McAdam, another team has reportedly emerged as very aggressive with the White Sox in the most recent days. And a lot of people are assuming that's the Phillies, the team that is getting very aggressive in those talks. There's also a post right here from Phillies Nation. The Phillies and the White Sox have spoken about a trade that would send Alec Bohm and Justin Crawford to Chicago in exchange for Garrett Crochet. I do that in a heartbeat. 100%. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to trade Justin Crawford. I don't want to trade anyone in the prospect system. Look, if you're trying to win a World Series, Justin Crawford's not going to help you out right now. I understand you want to build up the prospect system. I understand you want a full-fledged prospect system to where you can call guys, replace guys that need to be replaced, and, have something that's fully sustainable for a long period of time. But you do have to trade prospects. If you want to get good players, you got to trade, give and get. You got to give to get. And if you want to give a Garrett Crochet, I'm 100% willing to trade a Justin Crawford. Now, is Chicago going to take that offer? I have no idea. But if it was Alec Bohm for Justin Crawford on the Phillies' perspective, well, fuck yeah, I'm fucking doing that deal. 100%. Now, is that going to get it done? Probably not. It would probably require a little bit more. But I wouldn't be shocked. Because the White Sox are the White Sox. But we'll see. I would 100% do Alec Bohm and Justin Crawford for Garrett Crochet. If that gets Garrett Crochet in a Phillies rotation, sign me the hell up. And as I, continue to scroll down Twitter, there's a lot of, Red Sox connections and all that stuff. But let's see. Yeah, Bob Nightingale discussed Alec Bohm, Justin Crawford in extensive trade talks for Garrett Crochet. I don't understand why some people don't like Garrett Crochet. I don't know why. I don't know why. For some reason, people don't want to trade Alec Bohm. You can replace Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm, yes, he had a good season last year. Died off at the end and clearly soured a lot of people in the Phillies organization. Yeah, he was a big RBI guy. Yeah, he was a big doubles guy. But he was also expected to hit for a lot of power, and he's never done that. Hasn't really done that. Only surpassed 20 home runs once in his career. That's, he was more expected to be a 30 home run guy with the double power, with the ability to drive in RBIs. And that's very crucial, yes, the ability to drive in RBIs. But you can replace that. You can easily replace that. And yeah, he's turned himself into a solid defender over there at third base. Still nothing spectacular, but definitely a billion times improvement over, when he started in the league. But Alec Bohm is still very replaceable. You can find a way to replace that. So, if Alec Bohm turns into getting Garrett Crochet, sign me up. I'm 100% doing that deal. Come on, people. You can't be getting complacent and not be willing to trade people. Phillies do got to make moves. The Phillies do got to shake up the roster a little bit. You can't go back in the next season with the same exact roster again because it's just not going to work. So if that involves trading Alec Bohm, I'm fine with it. And I was an Alec Bohm guy. But yeah, he soured on me a little bit, especially with, just him not being able to control his attitude, not being able to control his temper tantrums. Dude's almost 30, and he's still acting like that. Can't be doing that. Can't be doing that and expect to achieve great things in this league. You just can't. You just can't. So I 100% be willing to trade Alec Bohm. And that also kind of gets into the talks where we go into Sports Illustrated, where a lot of them, this is more going on towards the Bob Nightingale discussions and, talking about Alec Bohm and if they do trade Alec Bohm because they are dangling him out there on the trade block and how would they replace him? Like, what would they do in terms of replacing Alec Bohm? And there is a quote right here on Sports Illustrated in this article talking about that. So the quote from Bob Nightingale: if the Phillies trade Alec Bohm, they are expected to make a strong play for Alex Bregman, whose talent and personality would fit in perfectly with the team. And basically just going through the rest of this article, there are two things to unpack here. First, it sounds like the only way they go after the star third baseman is if they trade their own all-star this offseason. The Phillies have been shopping Alec Bohm, and there seems to be some early interest from teams around the league. But there hasn't been much else revealed beyond that about what the Phillies are looking for in return during the negotiations. Moving him would open up a spot at third base they need to fill. Bregman would make sense, but he is a hot name on the market with multiple suitors, including the incumbent team, the Houston Astros, who reportedly have already put their offer on the table to him. Time now becomes the biggest hurdle here for this scenario. The Phillies would have to trade Alec Bohm as soon as possible while also getting the best return they can to then turn around and negotiate with Bregman so they can add him to their roster so they don't miss out on bringing in the best free agent at his position. It is a tightrope. It's one Philadelphia certainly could walk since they can talk with Bregman while they're looking for a trade suitors for Alec Bohm, but this is a tricky situation nonetheless. When considering things from a baseball perspective, it's a move they should make. Bregman is a better player than Bohm and would immediately upgrade this lineup while also bringing a level of professionalism to that clubhouse that apparently the young player is missing based on the information coming out regarding why the Phillies are looking to trade him in the first place. Rumors will only begin to intensify about if Philadelphia will truly go after Bregman as the hot stove starts heating up ahead of the owners' meetings in December. Yeah, I would 100% expect that to happen because the winter meetings, that's where a lot of things heat up in terms of the MLB offseason. But yeah, if they do trade Alec Bohm, I would 100% expect them to go after a guy like Alex Bregman. He's in his 30s. He's exactly 30 years old. Looking at his numbers last year with the Houston Astros, definitely a down season in terms of Alec Bregman. So he had 26 home runs. He drove in 75 RBIs. Walk percentage definitely down more than usual. It was down at 6.9%, a drastic drop from 12.7, from 13.3. The strikeout percentage went up a little bit, so that's a little bit, concerning, but we'll see how he finds a way to work around that. He had a 260 batting average with a 315 on base and a 453 slugging. Had a 4.1 WAR. So we'll see, maybe a different team, maybe going to a different franchise. Maybe that just unlocks something. Maybe it was just a down year for Alex Bregman because he definitely is a consistent, basically the past couple of years he's been a consistent 250 hitter with, a high on base percentage and around a 450 slug. He's going to get you at least, 20, 25 home runs a year. Last year, he drove in 98 RBIs. In 2022, he drove in 93. 25 home runs last year, 23 home runs in 2022. So he's been very good. Yeah, definitely nowhere close to where he was in 2018 and 2019 when he was MVP candidate. Alex Bregman had 31 home runs in 2018, 41 home runs in 2019, where he was batting 296, 286, had a fantastic on-base percentage and a fantastic slugging. He's definitely not that version of Alex Bregman, but he's still a very good player in this league, and he's 100% better than Alec Bohm. Has a better glove over at third base, might I add, as well, and would definitely be an improvement in this lineup. And like also adding on to the professionalism brought up in the article, that he's been there before. He's played on the Houston Astros, where they went to ALCS after ALCS after ALCS after World Series after World Series. He's won 2 World Series, cheating scandal aside. He's proven that, he could play in the playoffs. Been a major boost and major help to the Astros during their postseason runs. He knows what it takes to win, and that would definitely be a benefit adding to this Phillies clubhouse. Getting a guy in there that knows how to win. So that would be an extra help, because really the only guy or the only players that have won World Series on the Phillies roster currently are Kyle Schwarber when he was basically in his second season in the league, and Trey Turner with the Washington Nationals. So there really isn't that much of experience there. Getting Alex Bregman would be a huge boost to that. I'd be in support of getting Alex Bregman. Now, in terms of the contract, what he would want, that's a different story. I'm not sure what he would be worth. I did see something out there that there was like an outrageous ask for his price. So there's a little bit of things to discuss there. There 100% is. But it really depends on what the Phillies are going to do with Alec Bohm. Are they going to trade him? Are they not? I kind of expect at this point, with all the rumors out there, that he would most likely be traded. I would be shocked if he's back in the Phillies uniform next season, especially with the way last year ended. So it's basically just a waiting process at that point. What's going to happen there? How they're going to go about business? So we got to see. And going back to that one tweet that was talking about, pursuing Alex Bregman and Willy Adames. Willy Adames, he came off of a career year last year, and he's definitely going to get a very big payday. He's 29 years old. Looking at Willy Adames' year last year, he had 32 home runs with 112 RBI. He batted .251 with a .331 on base, a .462 slug. Played fantastic defense. He had a 4.8 WAR. He walked 10% of the time. He strikes out a lot. He strikes out a 25% clip. And, he was a very solid player last year. But looking at the past couple of years, last year he batted .217. 2022 he batted .238. But last year he had 24 home runs. 2022 he had 31. And basically, he's been a very solid player in this league. And definitely you're paying more for Willy Adames on his career season, rather than, I guess, the entirety of the player, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't mind Willy Adames, don't get me wrong. I would prefer Alex Bregman. Still depends on the cost. But I wouldn't mind Willy Adames. But I would rather go in the sense of Alex Bregman if the Phillies do move Alec Bohm. So that's the case right there. And really, I would say lastly, for Philly stuff, because we got into Garrett Crochet, we got into the Alec Bohm rumors and all that stuff with Alex Bregman and everything there. I do remember seeing that the Phillies, talking about Brandon Marsh trades and all of that stuff. The Phillies might be more reluctant to trade out, Brandon Marsh in terms of how everything goes. So we'll basically wait and see what goes on this offseason, because it's still very early, 100% early in this offseason. So who knows? There was also a rumor from Bleacher Report walk-off, and this is also from Bob Nightingale. The White Sox would love to trade Luis Robert Jr. And let's see. And the Phillies Nation, or Philly Nation, said that don't be shocked if the Phillies go after Garrett Crochet, that Luis Robert would be thrown into the trade as well. Who knows? Maybe that could be the case. Maybe the Phillies are trying to go after two pieces with Crochet and Luis Robert. Luis Robert is also an immense talent, but can't stay healthy. He's also very young, too. Maybe putting him into a better scenery, a better franchise, another better run organization, can find a way to fully unlock his potential. And he's had great seasons. It's also, he just can't stay healthy. So, but he would also be a massive upgrade in the outfield. So, I also wouldn't mind a Luis Robert. That would be nice, getting a package of both Garrett Crochet and Luis Robert. We'll see. We'll see. But, what else did I want to get into? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. Juan Soto. So, right now, the big things that have been going on about Juan Soto is that it sounds like teams have put offers on the table for him. And it sounds like there's 5 teams. The Yankees, obviously. The Mets, obviously. The Boston Red Sox, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Dodgers. Those 5 teams have met with Juan Soto, and they put their offers on the table. it was reported that the Phillies do plan on meeting him, but they haven't met with him yet. And I'm not sure if they're going to meet with him at all, if or when they're going to meet with Juan Soto and Scott Boras to talk about possibly signing in Philadelphia. And as the day goes along, I'm still very skeptical about him signing in Philadelphia. I really just don't think it's going to happen. I really do think he's staying in New York one way or another, whether it's with the Yankees or whether it's with the Mets. So that's basically what it is there. So yeah, I was very pumped about the idea of John Middleton and Dave Dombrowski going after Juan Soto, but I do really think it was a far stretch just because of the Yankees and the Mets' ability to spend all that money. And don't get me wrong, I do think the Phillies can possibly spend all that money too, but I just didn't think it was really realistic at the end of the day. And I did say at the end of the playoffs and all that stuff, getting in my feels that if you don't go after Juan Soto, this offseason is an automatic failure. Would I still feel that way? I'd be pretty disappointed. It depends on the case. If you tried and go after Juan Soto, you put an offer on the table, and he just happened to decline, and he went somewhere else, I'd be fine with that. But if you go through this offseason, Juan Soto signed somewhere else, but it's said that you never even discussed with him, you never met with him, and you never even put an offer on the table, I'd be pretty upset. I would need to hear Dave Dombrowski and John Middleton's reasoning for that, because it's understandable not being able to sign Juan Soto just because another team outbid you because they had more money, but possibly not even putting an offer on the table would be very concerning, in my honest opinion. I would have to see how everything plays out, but right now, with the way everything is going, it doesn't sound like the Phillies have really done anything in the case of Juan Soto. And is Juan Soto going to sign tonight? Is he going to sign tomorrow? Is he going to sign this week? I have no idea. Most likely, with the way these things play out, he probably won't sign till somewhere after the winter meetings. Maybe he does sign during the winter meetings. I have no idea. A lot can change from this point. But it doesn't sound good on the Phillies' perspective right now. But like I said, a lot can change. But I'd be really upset with this franchise if they didn't even try to make an attempt to get Juan Soto. Even though I said that it probably wasn't realistic that he does sign here, I at least want you to try. Put effort into trying to get him. Just don't even not attempt it, because that would make me really upset. And I would still be excited about the other moves you possibly make, but to not even try go after Juan Soto, that would be a bad look, in my honest opinion. Now, like I said, a lot of things can change, but right now it sounds like there's only 5 teams that have really done anything with Juan Soto. Like I said, those 5 teams: Boston, both New York teams, the Blue Jays, and the Dodgers. The Dodgers are always going to be involved because they're the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Blue Jays because they're willing to spend money and they're also kind of desperate. The Boston Red Sox, same thing, they're kind of desperate. And the Yankees and the Mets, teams that are going to spend money. So we'll see how things play out. But like I said, I'd be really disappointed if they don't even attempt to go after Juan Soto. That's where we stand. And as I refresh the Twitterverse, I doubt anything would pop up on any case here with baseball rumors, with Phillies rumors. A lot of the stuff just happens to pop up throughout the day, basically. So we'll see where everything goes. But I think we got through pretty much what I wanted to discuss here. Garrett Crochet, Alec Bohm rumors, Alex Bregman, Willie Adames, all that stuff, and Juan Soto. So we'll see how everything plays out for the rest of the offseason. We'll definitely have more Phillies talk, as you know, if there's more news that happens, if any breaking news happens, any moves or anything like that. We'll see how everything plays out. So that's basically what we'll do for tonight, everybody. I appreciate you all for tuning in as always. So don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button because it does me a great deal of service. I also, like I said, I appreciate you guys for getting me to 1,000 subs. Appreciate you all. So don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to leave a comment. And don't forget to use the code TTPSPORTS. $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. It's a great deal. Don't pass it up. Appreciate you guys as always. And I'll see you next time.